Can you describe the relationship you had with the real Mike Williams and the work you did to portray him on the big screen?
Well, I really relied on Mike for everything because I had no access to an actual rig. But Mike knew the rig better than anybody. He was the last guy off, and so I relied on Mike for everything. And then, of course, this guy went through the situation in real life. So he's not impressed with my resume or, things that I've done in the past. I had to earn his respect. And once he realized how committed I was to getting it right, then he opened up to me quite a bit. And we got to be very close. I find him extremely inspiring. And he's very, very heroic in the things that he did in the face of this horrific tragedy.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what changes did you make to the original story, in order to dramatize what happened?
Well, the only thing that you could really was when the 11 people lost their lives. Mike wasn't in those different places, whether it be, the mud room and various places where these things happened. So they would have to take some creative liberty there, because all these men basically stayed on their stations and doing their jobs to try to prevent this from happening and to try to stop it. So that everything else, Mike always figured it was about 70% of what actually happened, and then the other 30 we had to take liberties, because obviously they weren't here to tell their story.
Yes. The movie feels like a war movie. Since you love to bring this kind of real stories to the big screen, do you think there are many heroes who don't get medals and honors?
Yes, the everyday heroes, the school teachers, the men and women who go out there and, risk their lives to protect their country, their community. People who dedicate their lives to helping others. A lot of those jobs and people tend to go unnoticed and unrecognized. But those are the people that I look up to. Anybody who's going to go out there and really work hard to provide for their family, in my opinion, is a hero.
While I was watching the movie, I thought that money and greed seem to be the real main fault in this operation, in this disaster. Do you agree with this interpretation?
Yes, but at the same time, it's business. They all have a job to do. They all have a schedule and a budget and those things. And, those are high pressure situations that, I certainly don't want to find myself in. Now, of course, if they could go back and do it differently, they would have. They would have certainly sacrificed the $53 million or whatever it was that they were behind, instead of paying out, $50 billion. But I imagine they were in these situations before and took chances and things worked out okay. But, obviously the worst case scenario happened here. And hopefully they'll now continue to take extra precautions to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
Yes, let's hope so. You chose to focus on the human beings on the platform, but there are a couple of scenes where birds, if I remember well, are affected or even die from what happens. Do you know what's the actual condition of that part of sea right now, nowadays?
I know it took a very long time to clean up. Obviously, it affected everybody, the fishing industry. It had a huge effect for quite some time, but I think things are pretty much back to normal now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And then there were people, in Louisiana, who were affected by it directly, who wanted more of that story to be told. But we just felt like there was so much covered within the media, in the news about the environmental disaster, not enough attention was paid to the fact that 11 people lost their lives. And we wanted to honor those people, and we thought it was long overdue.